Good morning. Today is Tuesday, September 19th. Today I think I'll talk about a bunch of stuff. I don't really have anything rock solid that I want to talk about today. But there's some good news on the Iranian front. We have 5 prisoners who have been held in Iran for many years, and I'm talking one of them since 2015. 2 others at least 5 years, and then there are 2 who have not been specified yet. But they are going to be released by the Iranian government in exchange for $6 billion of Iranian money that was held someplace in Switzerland and has been transferred to a bank account in Qatar. And the money supposedly is to be used for humanitarian purposes. That's the agreement. But I don't know how we can enforce that agreement once Iran gets their hands on this money. But it's good that these Americans are going to finally come home after being imprisoned for a significant amount of time in Iran. And I don't know what offenses they were charged with, but I think it's just one of those things, one of those diplomatic arrangements that happen, and people get arrested for some strange little thing, and because they're Americans, the Iranians were taking advantage. I don't trust the Iranians in any event, but the prisoners are being released, so that's good news. Now then, the second thing is not such good news, because that deals with a possible shutdown of the U.S. government. Once again, it's time to get money to run this country. It's time to put together a budget that makes sense, that'll keep us in business for a couple of years perhaps. But that's not the case. The case is that Congress has put together a bill, a stopgap measure. The measure would impose some spending cuts, keeping the government funded at current levels, while the Department of Defense and Veteran Affairs would be maintained at their regular funding levels, and other agencies would face roughly an 8% cut. But the bill doesn't include anything about Biden's request for $40 billion in supplemental funding for natural disasters and, of course, the war in Ukraine. Senate leaders in both parties want attached to any temporary funding bill. That's what's going on in the House, because conservatives like Marjorie Taylor Greene and Ralph Norman of South Carolina, they expressed concerns about the deal on Sunday. Now, anything that Marjorie Taylor Greene expresses anything about anything, in my mind, that's a no-no. So if she's against it, I'm for it. And others blasted some plan that was related to X. You know, X is Elon Musk's version of Twitter, and they wanted to spend some money. I don't know why they want to waste any money on X, but meanwhile they hoped that they would get this thing to the floor for a vote, and it's sure to be shot down by the Senate. There's no question that the Senate is not going to like this thing. So there we have it. A major conundrum in this country on how to spend our money and how to keep spending our money and what we have to do every time out for this budget. And I don't know why there can't be a universal budget plan that has some strict rules and regulations about certain parts of the government, and then some other parts can be flexible government spending. But that's just my stupid way of thinking about it. Anyhow, why do we have to have this crisis every couple of months right now? And now the story about a woman who didn't like the number she got on her license plate, but she still used her license plate numbers to win a $50,000 lottery prize. This is a 50-year-old woman who didn't like the numbers when she first got them, and she even requested to change it before setting with the tag. But she was forced to keep the license plate. It seemed to her as that every time she turned around, she saw the numbers. It was like the numbers were haunting her. Right? And those numbers are 91104. She said, I never thought I would win anything using these numbers, but she kept betting them somehow or other, and now she had won $50,000. She played the numbers on a $1 Pick 5 ticket and won the grand prize of $50,000. And she started crying. And she said it could not have come at a better time. And you know who checked the numbers for her? Her husband. Her husband checked the numbers. So that's one thing. That's a nice story. And I know one thing. I think most people have a number that they favor. Maybe part of their birthday or a part of their kid's birthday or something that makes it a number special for you. And here's another piece of news that's, I think, exciting in some way, shape, or form. It's expected that in 2024 there's going to be a spike in marriage proposals. And I don't know how they can come to that conclusion at this point in time, but according to the article, it's related to the end of the pandemic. Somehow or other during the pandemic, weddings were postponed, and now people are getting back in the marriage mode, right? That's according to Signet Jewelers, the largest jewelry company in the United States. And the pandemic dented sales of engagement rings like never before. And people stayed inside and avoided socializing outside the immediate family. So now that people are out moving around again, they expect that weddings and wedding proposals are going to go up next year, because we had created something called an engagement gap. Now, people get engaged on average about 3 years after they begin dating. That seems like a long time to me. But in any event, that's according to what Signet's proprietary data has rounded up. So look for a big spike in weddings, and I hope you all get a lot of invitations during 2024. And maybe you won't even get invited, but you'll know a lot of people are getting married. Maybe, if the prediction is true. But I can understand that. I can really understand it, with people being very cautious and wearing a mask. Tell me something, how would you fall in love with somebody you never saw their face before, if they were wearing a mask while you met them? Strange things go on when there's crisis. So this is maybe the end of the crisis, and we don't have to worry much. And here I am rambling about a silly thing like the marriage proposals going up in 2024. But in any event, that's about it for today. Now I'm going to get to work on some other things. I'm having a Zoom problem. Take care. Have a great day. Bye.